This episode's gonna be nuts, and just a lot of me doing stuff that I will regret later.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just won the Super Bowl. That's good, Broncos! Ah! Holy fucking shit! That's good, Broncos! That's good, Broncos! That's good, Broncos! That's good, Broncos! I got a ring. We got one too.
Thank you for all of the Super Bowl intros and the intros you sent me all year long. I am Brandon Perna. This is the Super Bowl champion edition of That's Good Broncos. The Denver Broncos are Super Bowl 50 champions. Wait, I said that wrong. The Denver Broncos are fucking Super Bowl 50 champions. Over 1 million people showed up in downtown Denver for the victory parade on Tuesday. Thank you, Woody Roseland, for sending me that exclusive parade footage. Now, there's only one appropriate way to officially start this episode.
This one's for Pat!
Yes, that would be the classy way to start the show. We're the big dick Super Bowl champion way starting this episode.
No, we lost the game. Why did we have to lose? I talked too much shit prior.
I have a feeling that Cam Newton may eventually turn into a FYTB, which would be FYCN. In fact, the Newton family tree is getting worse and worse. It begins with Sir Isaac Newton, who was instrumental in contributing to the scientific revolution in the 17th century with his law of gravitation and publication, Principia, which is considered one of the most important scientific books ever written. Isaac Newton's great-great-great-great-grandson, Wayne Newton, wrote the song Donkashane and viciously fought Father Time with an overindulgence of Botox injections. And Wayne Newton's grandson, Cam Newton, well, he dabs and pretends to be a superhero. The law of gravitation says, what goes up must come down. That's good, Broncos. Do you want to know when I knew the Broncos were going to win the Super Bowl? How about when Joe wasn't out there botching the coin toss? Instead, they opted to have the best Joe to ever play the game do the coin toss. Do you think it was a coincidence he was in the Papa John's commercials? No, especially if you consider that the first 4 letters of coincidence spell coin. Do you want to know the second time I knew the Broncos were going to win the mother-loving Super Bowl? It was when the first snap occurred under center, ensuring there would be no Manny Ramirez phantom snap. The AARP club initiated the opening drive with an 18-yard completion from Peyton Manning to Owen Daniels. This was by far the most effective and efficient drive for the Broncos in the entire game. I have to hand it to Bubba Caldwell for being the first player to do the dab in the game after this wide open first down conversion. Dab. I never learned it. CJ Bash Manderson gashed the Panthers offense on the left side, entering the red zone on what should have turned into a touchdown finish. But with the red zone struggles the Broncos faced all season long, this was not a surprise to me. My new best friend, Brandon McManus, split open the Gooch like a lumberjack with a 34-yard kick. I predicted he'd have 3 Gooch punches on the game, and I was correct. In fact, the Gooch Dominator finished the postseason a perfect 10 for 10. Cam started the opening series by providing a little prayer to the football gods. Sorry, Cam, the football god was a little busy having a champagne brunch with Russell Wilson and Tim Tebow. The Broncos held the Panthers to a 3-and-out with this Aqib Talib stop on Greg I'm almost as good as Gronkowski Olsen, just shy of the first down, which set the tone for this 15-punt game. I'd like to take a minute to acknowledge the unsung heroes of the offense, Britton Colquitt, Kayvon Webster, and Cody Latimer, who all had near-perfect special teams performances in the playoffs to help Denver dominate the field position battle. Kayvon Webster struck again on the Broncos' first punt, and even Aqib Talib knows Webster is a bad, bad man. This was followed by the infamous Jericho Cotry catch/no catch/catch/no catch play. When I first watched the replay, I assumed this definitely was not a catch because the ground aided him in controlling the football. When the ball hits the ground, it cannot help you make a catch. Again, Mike Carey gets the explanation completely wrong.
The ball never hits the ground.
Mike, not only does the ball hit the ground, but the ground knocked the ball loose. That, of course, led to Von Miller's first strip sack of the evening. Miller basically just takes the ball right out of Newton's hand so that Malik Jackson and DeMarcus Ware can fight over who will score the touchdown. This gave the Broncos their early 10-0 lead. Now, real quick, do you want to see an MVP caliber throw from Cam Newton? Nice throw, Cameron. Panthers receiver Corey Brown is a real jerk. He denied this guy on the Broncos sideline a friendly hug. Corey Philly Brown, you're never going to be happy until you learn to allow love into your heart. DeMarcus Ware is such a good leader on this team, and his football knowledge is off the charts. Just listen to him on the sideline.
Hey, listen, you loop it, you swoop it. That'll have your shoe tied, and that help you get him.
Von Miller attempted to untie Cam Newton's insides by body slamming him on the sideline, just like those two super hot twin wrestlers. Game of Thrones enthusiast Aqib Talib was penalized for trying to Ned Stark Corey Philly Brown. My only critique for Talib is to save those plays for fuck you Tom Brady. Speaking of Tom, he was the only Super Bowl MVP booed in the pregame honor ceremony.
Brady!
After the penalty, the Panthers scored their only touchdown of the game on this rush by Jonathan Stewart. I don't understand how Coney Ely wasn't ejected from the game after he slapped the mini sheriff hanging between Peyton's knees on this play. If you touch any quarterback's penis at any point, you should not be allowed to use that hand for the rest of the game. Vic Lombardi asked Brady Quinn about this very thing earlier in the week.
Why don't players wear cups?
Cups?
Yeah.
I don't think they get hit in the groin quite as often as you would think.
If you have the word Brady in your name, does that make you genetically destined to possess perfect male beauty? Jordan Deadwood returned to full form with this 61-yard punt return that was set up by confused tackling Panthers who thought Norwood may have called for a fair catch. Speaking of history, this was the longest punt return ever in a Super Bowl, which set up Brandon McCann-Canis' second Gooch punch to give the Broncos a 13-7 lead. After Cam Newton nearly fumbled, Darian Stewart came in like a football heat-sinking missile, put his helmet on the ball and knocked it right out of Mike Tolbert's portly hands. Danny Trevathan made the recovery, and I screamed with a bunch of strangers in a Bennigan's parking lot. C.J. Anderson seized the opportunity by churning out a 34-yard run after breaking 2 tackles, including a rare miss by Luke Kuechly. Unfortunately for Anderson, that drive ended when the mini sheriff dabber Coney Ely picked off a poor throw by Peyton Manning. DeMarcus Ware closed out the half like a true showman, absolutely destroying Cam Newton and all of his confidence with this sack. Then he forced Newton to suffer even more with his patent rope and rodeo Hulk smash celebration. Ron Rivera was not happy going into halftime.
Well, for one thing, you can shove that question right up your ass.
All right, good luck, Coach. Thank you.
Go fuck yourself.
And that's the reason I respect Coach Rivera. As a fan base, we've been pretty hard on Phil Simms, who honestly seems like a really nice guy, and I'm going to give him the credit he deserves for this prophetic statement he made during the game.
We were thinking maybe the first team to 24 was going to win the game.
Peyton Manning should retire on top, and now Phil Simms should do the same. Now, a little luck shined on the Broncos when the Panthers' opening drive after halftime ended with a field goal miss by Graham Gano. Gano, you don't. Gano, the Gooch don't open for just anyone, Graham. Emmanuel Sanders, who had the best game of any Denver receiver by far, took advantage of the miss with an immediate 25-yard gain for the offense. He encored with another catch, this time weaving his way through timid cats for 22 more yards. But we all know how this ends. The Broncos offense stalls and the golden leg of Brandon McManus enters the game to salvage the drive for a 3-pointer down the Gooch. The Panthers were driving, but our man TJ Ward came to the rescue, picked off Cam Newton, and probably should have trusted his bodily instincts that threw him to the ground. Yep, the bowling ball, Mike Tolbert, knocks the football loose, and fortunately, Danny Trevathan, the fumble recoverer master, scooped it up. Deep in their own territory, CJ Anderson carried the entire Panthers organization, including former quarterback Jake Delhomme, on his back to move the chains. That was a hell of a run by Anderson, but after Coney Ely burned Michael Schofield, Denver punted. Have you ever wondered how Cam Newton likes to murder people? It's with a machete. Machete or no machete, the Panthers just couldn't get anything going offensively for the entire game. And with Miller and Wolf on the prowl, the defense feasted on Panther meat. Not even a strip by Coney Ely could hinder the dominance of the Denver D. Graham Gano gave the Panthers 3 after finally tasting the sweet drips of nectar that only the Gooch can provide, cutting the Broncos' lead down 16-10. There was a little over 4 minutes left in the game. The Broncos had a 6-point lead. Newton drops back to pass, and then, boom. Lightning in my panties. Von Miller easily beats his blocker, strips the ball from Cam Newton, who, like a true scaredy cat, cowers at the chance to dive in and recover the ball. It squirts loose and TJ Ward nestles it into his body inside the 10-yard line. The Denver offense is then aided by a defensive holding penalty. The penalty was a good call on Josh Norman, who was grabbing at DT like he was a pair of double Ds. And from 1 yard out, C.J. Bash Manderson blasted his way through Luke Kuechly's chest for the game-clinching touchdown. That was the opposite of a walking, standing touchdown, but just as effective. The Broncos went for the 2-point conversion to put them up by an even 14, and the pass was fired and completed to none other than Benny and the catch. My question is, who should win the Oscar for best reaction to the game-winning touchdown by a supporting actor? Is it Cam Newton in All Stars Burn Out? Or is it Eli Manning in Oh Brother, Why Art Thou Better? Or Sean McDermott in Fists of Fury? Those are your nominees. And the winner goes to... Oh, this is a surprise! It's Josh Norman for his gripping performance in Cornered, The Crying Game Part 2, an emotional tale of masculine heartbreak. Congratulations, Mr. Norman. Malik Jackson and DeMarcus Ware helped close this defensive masterpiece by sacking Newton for a 14-yard loss. On the next play, the Wolf proved to be the most dangerous predator in the animal kingdom, blasting Newton in the end zone, forcing the Panthers to punt, and completely demoralizing Cam, just as they did to Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, and Ben Roethlisberger earlier in the season. Now, I just made fun of Josh Norman, but I honestly have a lot of respect for the guy, and truly enjoyed seeing him congratulate Peyton Manning on that last series. That was a very classy move by a very good corner. The sneaky Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware provided the traditional Gatorade dump on Gary Kubiak, which has to be one of the most annoying traditions for coaches in all of sports. What if it's cold outside? That sucks. That would suck. The interesting thing you can see on the Gatorade play is a visibly upset Britton Colquitt who slams his helmet to the ground.
Would come back from the foot injury.
With the Broncos seconds away from winning the Super Bowl, you might be wondering, why is that man so angry? Let me tell you, he's just a guy that loves to play the game so much that he's pissed he has to wait 8 months to get back on the field and play another meaningful game. And that's how the Denver Broncos became Super Bowl 50 champions, defeating the Carolina Panthers 24-10. There will be no surprise regarding the Super Bowl 50 Big Dick Player Award, which goes to the Broncos star linebacker, Von Miller. Big thanks to Clark Butler from Twitter for designing this special award. The Vonster knocked the ball out of Cam Newton's hands twice in the game, which led directly to 15 points for the Broncos. Miller was a beast, and it was an absolute joy to watch an ugly defensive Super Bowl. I want to hand out a season-long Big Dick Player Award to this Denver defense, who, like the offense in 23, was the best in the league starting week 1 and followed that all the way through to the Super Bowl. Wade Phillips and Gary Kubiak get Big Dick Coaching Awards for helping this team reach the next and ultimate level. And I have to praise John Elway for shifting gears after that blowout loss to Seattle in Super Bowl 48. The attitude of this team is completely different, and I cannot overstate how impressive it is that he redefined this team's identity, got them back to the Super Bowl, and won. There were many tough decisions that had to be made between then and now for this to happen. We can all breathe easy for the next few months and reflect fondly on a truly big dick season. As is tradition, the President of the United States of America called to congratulate the Broncos and invite them to the White House. But I think he might have still been a little tipsy from his own Super Bowl party.
Coach?
Mr. President, how are you?
My feet really hurt. I don't play anymore, but I still know a little bit about nachos, wings. Yeah, the point is, this is a great basketball team.
Good to see old men doing good.
Hey, that's right. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you can teach him to be consistent, right?
He was clowning. That's not right.
Thanks for watching the Super Bowl 50 champion edition of That's Good Broncos. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for your continued support. I would not still be doing these videos if it wasn't for every one of you telling me that this show doesn't suck. Stay tuned even during the off season because I keep making videos all year long. Also, check out Vic Lombardi's YouTube channel. He was the reason I got out to the Super Bowl. I'll be working with him as well, doing stuff on his channel. Give me a follow on Twitter at Brandon Perna and check out my exclusive Gooch interview with Brandon McManus when you get a chance. And Mom and Dad, thank you for providing me with this studio space in your basement. I thought I would be out of here by now, but I'm not. And Dad, thank you for watching every one of my videos and always asking me if the newest episode is the best one yet. And I always respond, they're pretty much all the same. Ooh, the Denver Broncos are Super Bowl motherfucking 50 champions! Too much? The Broncos win the Super Bowl. 7 months, nobody can say shit to us, because we're the best. We're the best.